Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Awakening to Your Story, the place to learn, be supported, and be inspired with heart centered solutions for your everyday life. I am Alicia Hartzell, and today we are going to be talking about negative bias and finding the power of your mind. Now, do you ever wonder why your brain keeps pulling up the negative things or leaning you in the direction of negative thinking or keeps pulling you back to something negative that happened? It's doing it because it's trying to help you. And this pull is called negative bias. Now, negative bias is really good. It's a really good tool. It's part of our primal experience, right? This negative bias helps keep us safe. This negative bias helps us freeze so that we can't be detected, fight if we need to fight something, or flee if we've got to get out of the way of something, right? But here's the thing: negative bias, when allowed to run unchecked in our mind or run on autopilot in our own thinking, it keeps us stuck in this pattern of surviving. It keeps us stuck in this place of always being on edge. And that can even have a physical manifestation in our body of being stressed, of having anxiety. And here's a really important thing to know: when you're in that place where your amygdala, which is where that negative bias lives, right? When you're in that place where your amygdala is running the show, you do not have access to your higher level thinking. You do not have access to your prefrontal cortex. But there's a really, really, really good solution. And that solution is understanding the power that you have over your brain. Here's the thing that you really need to keep in mind as you start to shift from being in this place of survival to being in a place where you can start to thrive, right? Your brain is a tool that is there for your humanity and divinity to create the life before you, right? It's a tool that's designed to help you. You actually have power over it. It does not have power over you. Now, I know that that may not sound true if you've been living from that place of survival. If your negative bias has been on autopilot, right? It doesn't feel true because you have been running under this assumption that you are supposed to be in a constant state of survival. But I am here to tell you, I am here to remind you that you actually do have power over your brain, right? You have power over what you think, you have power over how you then feel, and you have power where you focus. You have power over where you focus. So I want to help you today utilize that negative bias by seeing it for what it is, and then create a roadmap to a place where you can start to create a positive bias for yourself, right? Now, I have all of this information on the link below to the blog post, so you can always go back and reference it and look at it and print it out. It's at awakeningtoyourstory.com. But we're going to talk about some ways that you can slowly start to build up a positive bias for yourself, one thought and one feeling at a time. Because that's how you make change, right? That's how you slow down that negative bias, that amygdala thinking, and you slowly start to come into a place of that aligned part of you where you can have that higher level thinking and you can utilize what's in front of you in your everyday life to do that, right? So, the first thing that really is a beautiful way to amplify what is going right and in that place of the prefrontal cortex thinking is your breath. Now, that may sound very silly and very easy, but breath, when you focus on your breath and you have a conscious pattern of breathing, it slows everything in your mind down because you're focused on something simple and present. I personally practice square breathing. This is where you inhale through your nose for 4 counts, you hold for 4 counts, you exhale through your mouth for 4 counts, and then you hold for 4 counts. And you do that as many times as you need to until you start to feel all that chatter and all that worry and all that stress and all that stuff that's coming from your amygdala slow down, right? You allow your body to take a beat and just be in the present moment. You'll notice your mind slowing down. You'll notice your shoulders relax and your muscles come in to that place of ease. And this is a really powerful tool to help you shift from that amygdala to that prefrontal cortex and make room for that higher level thinking, right? All that negative chatter slows down and you can create a space to think a better thought, right? Okay, now the next one is metacognition. And this is a really, really powerful part of who you are. Metacognition is the awareness and the understanding of your own thoughts. And it really gives you this ability to, in the middle of having an experience, you can watch the whole experience happening. You can actually pull back and witness, become a witness in the experience. And it allows you to take a breath and a beat and then make a conscious choice about how you want to engage. Now, this is impossible when you're in that amygdala fight or flight kind of angsty position. But if you bring awareness to this really powerful thing that is part of you, which is the metacognition, then it gives you a little pause button, right? You can't stop the conversation, but you can take a beat and witness. Oh, I'm going to witness. I'm not going to jump in and just ride this train to wherever the other person or the outside experiences want me to go. Instead, I am going to allow myself to come back in to awareness and witness, and then make a conscious choice about what I want to do in this experience. You get to be a conscious participant rather than just allowing the circumstance in front of you to swing you into a place that you don't really want to be, that may be fight or flight or freeze, right? So, activating this understanding of your metacognition, taking it in and creating ownership for it and becoming a witness to your thoughts and to the entire picture, right? Making that lens it go from that very narrow thing that you're dealing with in the moment back to like the whole picture and being a witness of it all. It gives you that beat, gives you that second to really allow yourself to shift into a different place within your brain, right? Now, optimism is the next one. And optimism, I do not think people often understand that optimism is a conscious choice. People think that you're either optimistic or you're pessimistic, but the reality is that optimism is a conscious choice. Now, optimism is this learned neurological function where your brain focuses on what feels good and on what's possible, right? So you live in this experience and this filter of looking for things and looking into a situation for the potentiality of what could be, right? You're always kind of looking for that silver lining. This is this really beautiful place of believing that there is something good still to come. And if you actively choose to have an optimistic outlook, right? It's a choice. And you just do it one single thought at a time. You go, okay, I wonder what might feel better. You don't even have to fully believe it right away, but you just leave room for possibility. And that is a really, really powerful place to be. And it creates a pathway for you to be in that higher level thinking, right? It is a stepping stone to get you into your prefrontal cortex. It is a place where you can really allow yourself to envision things that are not even there yet, but are wonderful. This is having that filter of optimism, and it is a really powerful tool. I actually have a video about building a practice of optimism, and I will link it for you. And go watch the video, build up a practice of optimism. It is a game changer, right? Okay, the next one is gratitude. And this is something that I love. I have a daily gratitude practice with some girlfriends, and it is magical, magical. And gratitude is this filter, another filter, right? Where you are scanning your daily life to find out what is going right and going well and feeling good. You are scanning your experience and calling those things out and doing it with a state of appreciation and joy that runs through your being. And here's the thing about gratitude that it is just magical to me. Gratitude is hyper contagious. If you make a commitment to yourself, right? It's a conscious filter. It's a conscious thing that you do. If you make a commitment to yourself to filter in through your day a sense of gratitude, you will find yourself calling out all sorts of things that are going right and holding a space of joy within yourself that will continue to grow and grow and grow. This makes room for beautiful things to come into play. It literally lays the foundation and says, I am thrilled and in a state of joy at these small things or these big things. Come to me. I want more, right? That is what gratitude does, much like optimism, right? Okay, nature. Nature is another really handy tool that you can use to help build up that positive bias. Nature is a nature is a magical state that we can step in, and it holds so much wonder. Whether it's on this micro level where you are just in awe at the way a butterfly's wings are done, or the color of the bird's feathers, or looking at a flower petal and the magic that is in this small thing that comes from the dirt, right? Like there is so much wonder, and you can witness it, and it looks like you are participating for a moment in some sort of phenomenon, right? Or it can be at a macro level where you're standing in the middle of a mountain range looking at all the trees covered in snow or the aspens moving in the breeze. Or you're standing, which is my favorite, at the foot of the ocean, and you're watching that rhythmic calling in and calling out of the ocean. Whatever it is, right? Whatever way that you can step your feet into, step your being into nature and just be present with it. It calms all that chatter down. It calms all of that negative bias, amygdala chatter, that barking dog that's in your mind. It calms it down. And it offers you that breath, that beat, and that ability to be you in the present moment. And that opens the door to higher level thinking. That opens the door to you being in your prefrontal cortex. That opens the door for your executive function to step in, right? Now, whether it's breath, metacognition, optimism, gratitude, or nature, whatever tool you need to start to build up that positive bias, do it. Do it. It's one thought and one feeling at a time. And again, the great news is that with every thought you have a new opportunity. It doesn't matter if the thought before it was terrible. It doesn't matter if the thought before it pulled you in to the suffering that you have had. It doesn't matter. Each thought is new. Each thought is an opportunity for you to choose to come back into that place of inner alignment, to come back into that place of your higher level thinking, right? And it's like a muscle. If you start to create a practice of being in these spaces, right? Then you will start to build up that bias for the positive, that bias for the things that are right. Your brain is trainable. It can be trained to look for all that is good in your life. Even if you feel in this moment there's not a lot there, start small and it will grow, right? Now, as always, I am here to help you along the way. Please, 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 if you are having a hard time, leave me a comment and I will work with you to help you get there. If you do not know how to get there, we will find it one step, one thought, and one feeling at a time. Okay? Now, again, head over to Awakening to Your Story. You can download images, get everything that you need to help build up this positive bias that is right there waiting for you. Okay? Now, until next week, know that I am here believing in you and holding a space where your positive bias, it's undeniable.